I want to make sure I pronounce that correct.
That's
That's
correct.
all right. And also to the Region 5 family, our distinguished guests, and especially to our Adamson, to the Adamson family. So Kathy, Mary, got Jordan and Joseph and Sandy, friend of the family. Thank you so much for joining us on a very special day today as we get to promote Lieutenant Colonel promotable Joe Adamson to the rank of Colonel. So quite a significant milestone in his career. And I'm honored and humbled to be able to say a couple words about this great patriot that stands before you. Today he has served his nation proud for the past 35 years, 25 years as a commissioned officer, made a tremendous impact on our Army, as well as an incredible impact on the MP Corps. So it's my privilege to be able to just say a couple words about him. So he has predominantly served as a National Guardsman in the great state of Wisconsin. Many various leadership positions and assignments that he has had in Wisconsin, and I'll highlight a couple of them, but quite a diverse background that he has, and great leadership experience that he has, and joint leadership courses, and I was looking through his history, and he has, he went through the MP military police basic course, went to the engineer and the infantry captain career course. So that's significant. We don't necessarily get that in the active component, so quite significant. Started off as a platoon leader, I think in the infantry BCT, as well as over on the 1st of the 128th Infantry. So as support platoon leader, was it motor pool platoon leader? Okay, so he has that logistics background that we so need in our Army. What I thought was very interesting is that he served as a company commander for 6 years, essentially, about 6 years. Actually 4 years in 1st of 128th, and then as an engineer company commander. So that's impressive. In the active Army, you may get a second command, but 24 months, we call that success. 2 years, that keeps you competitive. So that just says a lot about the leadership experience that he has. And of course, he went to be, in the S3 plans, and also served as provost marshal, and then worked on the Joint Force headquarters on joint staff, and picked up all the strategic planning experience. And then he transitioned to the reserves, do I have that right, where he served as a small group leader first. And then he joined the Region 5 Replo team as the assistant chief Replo a few years back. And I bet at that time he never thought that he would be applying for the chief position as the Chief Reserve Emergency Preparedness, Regional Emergency Preparedness Liaison Officer. So, and his latest mission that he was able to and privileged to serve was as a battalion commander of the 384th MP Battalion out of Indiana. And everyone here in this room and our other services, not everyone gets to command a battalion. So that says a lot about the caliber of officer that he is. And then we were lucky enough to have him join our team as the chief Replo, and we know that he's going to continue to do great things in our Army as a reservist now instead of a National Guardsman. He knows leadership, he knows strategic planning, and he certainly knows the business that we are a part of, which is providing defense support, civil authority, and the Homeland Defense mission. And to me, there's no greater honor to be able to help your fellow American in their time of need. He has spent a life of service, being especially as a chief of police in Horicon,
Yes, ma'am.
Wisconsin. So he knows what it is to serve others. So just a few things, and I know General Michie will say a few things more, as we administer the oath later in the ceremony, but just a phenomenal career which has led him to this day. So I always say, while today is about him, we know that you could not get here without the love and support of his family. And this is a dual military family that has truly made a sacrifice and your commitment to help your dad get him to where he is today. And our former Chief of Staff of the Army, I always like to use this, General Odierno used to say, the strength of our nation is our Army, the strength of our Army are our soldiers, and the strength of our soldiers are our families, and that's what makes us Army strong. So you definitely contributed him to be able to get to where he is today. So please join me in a round of applause. And two things before we commence with the order, reading of the orders, and before you have the opportunity to say a couple things for your recognize your friend, that I always ask you to remember. And one, we always say the Army promotes based on the potential it recognizes in you, in this case, to serve as a senior leader in our Army. And to always remember that, to be a leader in our Army means to serve, nothing more, nothing less. And the second thing, remember those that helped you to get you to where you are today, because your success rests on the shoulder of those that you serve with. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joe so that he can say a few things.
I just wanted to set context really quick. Two incredibly important sides of this room. If we were all able to sit together, we kind of would, but that's just how the room is configured. So after 18 years of basic training with my mom, she got what I like to think is a fairly polite and respectable young man. And then she passed me off to this guy and this guy. Back in April of 1984, I had the pleasure of getting assigned to Germany. My section supervisor as a military police investigator was then Staff Sergeant Joe Berkeley. Our operations sergeant was then Staff Sergeant Gary Hatney. There are quite a few funny and some sad stories that we can tell from those years together working at the Provost Marshal office. But they helped shape what you see today. My mother, the first 18 years, and these two gentlemen, the formative years as a young Private E2, Private First Class, Specialist, then Corporal, then Buck Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Lieutenant, and it goes on up. And they helped set the foundation for that. One of the tipping points was when I left the line units and started on the Joint Staff as the Provost Marshal. Then I was a J33 planner, then I was a J35 planner, then I was the Provost Marshal, then I was the Force Protection Branch Chief, and then I was the Deputy J7, all under then Colonel Mischie, now General Mischie. And he's on quite a few of my OERs. And there's a reason for that. You like to stay with people that know what they're doing. He knew what he was doing. He helped shape my future, which is absolutely one of the reasons that I'm standing here today. On the flip side, behind the force, behind the drive, obviously I'm 19 years into a life sentence with Kathy. I couldn't be more happy. We run split ops all the time. She's gone, I'm gone, kids going one way, kids going another way. I can't do it without her understanding and her support. And then our kids, I can't tell you the number of things they've missed because Kathy or I, or both, have been out serving our country. For that, I'm sorry. But it's a great sacrifice. And Sandy, all the times that you've been there, either A, helping Mom when she's a little concerned about what part of the region I'm in, or what part of the region her daughter-in-law is in for over a year over in Baghdad, thank you very much. That's the context I wanted to set as to why these three gentlemen are here today and how much I appreciate these young ladies and our baby boy Joseph, who's so small as well. All right, so with that, I would ask that my mother Mary come on up to pin me, and Sergeant Hatney come on up to pin me, and if you would be so kind as to ask Sergeant Berkeley to post the order.
I certainly will. Let's get everybody positioned first.
Yeah.
Please publish the order.
Attention to orders. The Secretary of the Army has reposed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Adamson. In view of these qualities and demonstrated potential for increased responsibility, he is therefore promoted in the United States Army to the rank of Colonel. Effective 1 September 2018, with the date of rank of 1 September 2018. Signed, Gerald T. Mayer, Chief DA Promotions.
Gary. Since you had such a great impact on getting me here, I wanted to give you an eagle from me to you. And I am so proud to be a member of the Eagles Nest, as it's referred to. Thank you very much, sir.
You have anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, sir?
Okay, before I do an oath, just let me say a few words about Joe. So when I started my full-time military career, I was 28 years a reservist, National Guardsman, like most of you. I came into an organization that had just stood up a provost marshal's office, and Joe was running that office. And you know, when you come to a new organization, you quickly learn who your top performers are, who the people are you can trust, and who have great potential. And certainly, Joe was that officer in my organization. And so, I always say, when you have somebody with great potential and they do such great work and they're dedicated, you kind of lean on them, give them more and more and more tasks to do because you know they're going to get done right. And so I probably piled up on you a little bit, Joe, but you know, I didn't get to where I am today without officers like Joe. And you just don't get to the rank of 06 or 07 without having some people working for you that make you look good. And certainly Joe was one of those guys. So I'm going to administer the oath for commissioned officers, but before I do that, let me say a few words about the oath. So Joe's going to swear to support and defend really an idea that's been around in this country since the four founders put it together and took their ideas and put it into what we call the Constitution. And it's the only place in the world where you have young men and women raise their right hand and swear to support and defend not an individual, not a country, but really this idea we call the Constitution. And so, you know, without individuals like Joe and Kathy, the officers and senior NCOs we have standing there in uniform today, we wouldn't be able to live in such a great country. And our retired NCOs who served. And so we're really fortunate, and we're fortunate to have great officers like Joe Adamson that are willing to serve this country, and in some cases die for this country, so that we can share in the freedoms that we share today. So with that, let me administer this oath. I, Joseph W. Adamson,
I, Joseph W. Adamson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I support and defend
that I support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of which I'm about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter.
So,
So help me God.
congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
So please come up and congratulate our newest colonel in the Army.